everyone, and welcome back to The Girl with the Shovel. I'm Angela, and today we are going to be propagating pothos in soil. So to start off, we're going to definitely need some pothos vines. I took some cuttings in one of my other videos. You can check that out, how to trim your pothos. And now we're going to take these cuttings, turn them into actual cuttings and not just vines here, because we can't just, I mean you could, but we don't want to just plant these. Okay, and then we're going to need some soil, a pot, some scissors, some water, and I think that covers it all. Okay, so first we are going to want to take your vine, and I like to have at least 3 nodes on it. So a node is here where the leaf kind of touches, it has the little bumps on it. Those are little roots that are dormant that will start rooting once we get that all set up. Okay, so I like to cut, I go 1, 2, 3, cut. And then you can take off these 2 lower leaves. And then you have 1, 2 nodes, a 3rd node, and then your leaf where your new growth is going to come out. Okay, so that's how I like to take my cuttings. You can do it with just a single node. I mean, technically you only need 1 node to grow your pothos. But I like to give it a few extra just to get a few more points where roots can come out, where new growth can come out. And usually pothos grows fast enough, so you can usually get quite a few cuttings without having to go every single one. Okay, so I am going to just go ahead and get some cuttings. Okay, so now that we have our cuttings, I'm actually going to try 2 different methods of propagation. I'm going to propagate in soil, and I'm going to propagate in perlite. Okay, and hopefully at the end of this, I'm going to be able to figure out which one has better success rates, and so I can say which one is better for you. So I am going a little over the top and extra, but you don't have to. So I've got 2 pots here. I've got one with a nice peat moss and perlite blend. It's about a 50-50 blend there. And then I also have one of just our perlite. Okay, so what you do now is you have your leaf cutting, and you want to make sure that these nodes are what goes into the soil, and you have your leaf out. So I'm going to make a hole with my finger, or you can use like a pencil or a chopstick, and you stick that into the hole there. Okay, and I'm just going to go around and keep doing this. My pot, and I've got 5 little cuttings in here, and it should give me a nice bushy pothos. Now I'm going to start with a perlite. Okay, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to make a hole here and stick that in. Okay, so here we have it. We've got our perlite and we've got our soil. I'm going to put my soil one actually in this pot just to look a little nicer as it goes. Okay, and now I'm definitely going to give it a nice watering. And you'll want to keep these guys moist. Now, when you water propagate, you actually have the advantage that you don't have to keep watering it. When you're doing your soil propagation and your perlite propagation, you're definitely going to have to keep an eye on it, and you're going to have to be watering it consistently, letting it stay moist and not dry out, because when you have tiny little roots, they're a lot more sensitive to drying out, and then your whole cutting can fail. And then on the flip side, if you're seeing that the stems start turning like black or mushy, then that's more like your root rot, and that comes from bacteria. And so if that starts happening to your cuttings, then you'll want to leave them out to dry before you put them in. So any cuts that you make, you'll want those to stay out for about, I don't know, 12 to 24 hours-ish, depending on how hot your space is and such. But that will let it kind of seal over that cut to not let those bacteria in. Okay, so now we're going to be back in several weeks. Today is the end of July, so I won't be putting it in a hot windowsill because it is too hot right now. Those are totally going to burn my leaves. I'm just going to put it right here behind me in my nice shelf with the plant lights. You can also, if you don't have plant lights, you can put it in like a north-facing window where it'll get good sunlight, but not direct sunlight. So that'll help your cuttings stay nice. And just wait a few weeks, keep watering it, and it should grow very nicely for you. And I will be back in a couple of weeks to show you which one did better. Hey guys, so it has been about 3 months now. I know I was gonna check in about 6 weeks, but I decided to give them a little bit more time to grow some roots, and then things happened, and now it has been about 12 weeks. So 3 months later, this is where my cuttings are at. Once again, if you have different light, different water, maybe water it a bit more often than I water my plants, you might see more growth, you might see less growth, but that just kind of gives you a bit of a timeline. So we're gonna look at how these roots are doing for these cuttings, as well as compare the perlite to the soil. So let's get into it. First off, as you can tell, there have been a few little leaves that have died back in the soil. One, I actually have this pot inside another pot. Let me pull that out. So you can see one of the leaves here died. One of the leaves here is dying, but there are new shoots coming out of the soil. So let me grab my tray here. Let's get into this. Oh, and there's a root coming out of the bottom, so that's a good sign. I'm gonna be very gentle on these because these are just young little cuttings here. There we go. So once again, here are my cuttings in soil. Kind of letting that soil fall out so you can see where the roots are at. There we go. That's not bad. Look at that. And you can see there's some nice new little leaves. Leaves got a little damage there, but that's probably watering. Okay, so you can see this one. This one didn't really take. It's kind of dried out. The root hasn't fully formed here. Didn't really do very well. This guy's looking good. Got a nice several roots coming off of that one. And we've got this root that's starting to form here and a nice new leaf there. And this one's obviously doing probably the best. So we've got quite a few roots coming off here. And then we have a nice looking new leaf here. So that one's doing really well. And then this one, as you can see, the original leaf died, but it has a nice stem here. Actually, it rooted in the node above, but then it threw out a leaf in the node beneath. That's kind of interesting. So I'll probably eventually clip this top part off and let that leaf go. So we're at 4 out of the 5 that rooted successfully. Got some good roots here out of the soil. And that's pretty good. Just this one that didn't do very well. Kind of dried out. Let's take a look at our perlite now. Oh, so there are a lot more roots growing out of the bottom here. There's a little bit of moisture still in it. Oh my goodness. I think we might have a winner. I don't know. We'll have to see, but I think we might have a winner here. Wow. Okay, here is number 1. I was trying to get another little shoot off right here. And it's obviously got a lot of roots on that guy here. Cutting number 2. One's getting a lot of roots. Some nice green leaves. Number 3, we've also got a new shoot here trying to take off, as well as quite a few roots. Number 4, doing pretty good. And number 5, look at that, 5 for 5 on the perlite propagation. It's a straight perlite. We've got 5 for 5 that have rooted. Okay, now I want to show you the difference in the root material. And once again, I watered these the exact same time every time I watered. So we don't have a difference in how much water I gave it or, you know, how often I watered. This is the exact same because I wanted to compare which one actually did better, the perlite or the soil. And noticing it, the perlite is actually still really moist. It actually held on to a lot more moisture than I thought it would. The soil obviously is holding on to quite a bit of moisture too, but it's just a lot more light and airy with the straight perlite. So here are the perlite cuttings. And you see all the roots on these guys. And here is the soil cuttings. So without going in and doing a weight test to see how many roots actually grew, just looking at it, it looks like the perlite roots are actually larger, definitely longer than the ones in soil, which is what you need when you're trying to get it to root. Is you need some nice, long, established roots. And I would definitely say that the perlite gave me more roots than the soil, as well as all 5 of the perlite cuttings took, well, only 4 of the 5 of the soil cuttings took. One of them didn't make it because it dried out. So I would say that I'm definitely going to go with perlite in the future. Now, without doing a full out scientific evaluation where I have hundreds of pots and hundreds of cuttings and, you know, measuring the mass of all of this, this just being a little amateur experiment, I would say that the perlite did better. You know, if the soil works better for you, then stick with the soil. You know, if it's working, don't break what's working. But either way, we can definitely root our pothos cuttings in soil or in straight perlite or in water. If you saw that section, that one is actually growing pretty well and is rooted as well. Let me grab that for you. Let me show you. Okay, so here's my pothos that have been rooting in water. And you see that has some good roots. It has a few roots that aren't doing well because, let's be honest, I need to switch it out more often. I need to switch out my water more frequently. Do that. Just been busy. So I've got a lot more cuttings here, but as you can tell, they don't have nearly as many roots. Okay, there is just something about soil and the structure of it. I don't know, maybe if you're a soil scientist, you could tell me, but there's something about it that helps the roots really take off if they have what they need. But when you're first starting propagation, it's really hard to get the balance right. That's why most people start off with water, because it's a lot easier. Okay, these guys are ready to go into soil and then they'll really take off. But you see, even the leaves are a lot smaller here. So the new leaves are a lot smaller. The roots are smaller. They are all packed in there. It'd probably do a little better if it was in a bigger jar. But overall, I would say definitely if you're comfortable with any of these methods, I'm seeing the best results with this perlite here. Okay, so pothos cuttings in straight perlite. I know, right? Amazing. Not what I expected either. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, as well as to help support this channel so I can keep making awesome videos for you guys and seeing what works and what doesn't for your houseplants. And then if you want to join a community and want some more help, feel free to join the Facebook group Houseplants for Plant Killers. You can also read the blog post with step-by-step instructions on how to propagate your pothos vine. I'll leave the link to that post in the description below. And have a good one, guys. I'll see you in the next video.